so another point that I forgot to put in the video and then ended it, and now I have to go back and add it, is actually that there were a few people asking me how to join and become members after I made the video about membership. So it turns out that if you have an iPhone, the join button does not show up in the app. So you actually have to go to the website. If you have an iPhone, and I've been told this is on Macs as well, but I'm not 100% sure. But basically, you can't go to an app if you use like an Apple product. If you have an iPhone or an iPad, you can't go to the YouTube app to join. You have to actually go to the website. You have to type it into Safari or whatever, Google Chrome, and go to the YouTube website in order to join as a member. So I didn't know that because I actually have an Android. And even though my wife has an iPad, this is how we figured it out, is because she went and she was trying to join and she realized, oh, the button doesn't show up. And then I looked on my tablet, my Android tablet, and it showed up. And I looked on my Android phone and it showed up. It's literally some weird legal thing between Apple and Google where they will not allow you to join via the app, because I think they charge 30% or something like that. There's some weird thing, but that's Apple's fault. I'm sorry. That's what they did. So if you would like to become a member, log on to your YouTube from a browser, a web browser, whether it's Safari, Chrome, Firefox, whatever you use. And then you can go to the website and you can become a member. It'll have a join button next to the subscribe button when you go to my main page, and then you can join from there. And then there's multiple different membership options for you to choose from, all the way, I think, from like $2 all the way to like $100, which is insane. But you have to have options for everything. So I don't expect anybody to do any of those things, right? A membership is not necessary. And also I still haven't figured out what prizes the second winner is gonna get, but I do know that they're getting a 300i with a game package, and Squadron 42 game package, and a Star Citizen download. However, it's not LTI, so it's still a prize though. It's still a ship and a game package with both games in it. So that's one of their prizes, and we're still trying to figure out the second one, which I do think is going to end up being an upgrade of some sort, from one of their current ships to another. So there you have it. Hello, Star Citizens, and welcome to another episode of Star Citizen Nightly. There is a lot to go over because we skipped a few days. However, I do want to start this video off by talking about what our winners are for this contest of which ones I'm going to make commercials for. So let's hop into that real quick. All right. So the Anvil Gladiator is our winner for the, I should have put the category on there, but I didn't. But I'm going to be making commercials for the Anvil Gladiator. Remember, it's the top two from each. So it'll be the Anvil Gladiator, the Drake Herald, the Asperia Talon, the Banu Defender, the Hull Sea, the Raft, the Valkyrie and the Hawk, the Kruger Archimedes, and the Origin M50. Those are the ones that I will be making commercials for, along with the other ones that were on my list. So make sure, if you are trying to figure out what the whole list is going to be, I did that in my flyable video, like flyable ship showdown video. So you can go there and check out the whole list. So there you have it. You guys voted. Some of these were pretty close. Yeah, some of these were like 3%. This one was 3%. This one was 3%. Nah, this one wasn't close at all. This one wasn't close. Yeah, I guess 3%. Yeah. But I remember this one was close for a hot second. I thought it was actually going to be the M50 and the Razor, but it ended up being the Kruger. Inched it out by like 3. Now, I did look in the comments and everything, right? But as you can see, there wasn't a lot of people that were like liking other people's comments. And if you go back to the videos, so let's go to my videos. So if you go to my original video and then you go to the comments, like there wasn't, if you look, there's not a lot of these have a lot of likes on them. So it wasn't like, you know, we should do this one and it has a bunch of likes, or there's a bunch of commentary under any of these. So, cause I was saying, like, if you can convince people to, like, you know, support that one a lot. The only one that I saw a lot of support for was, well, there were two that I saw, it seemed like a lot of support for: the C1 and the Connie. I think I saw those mentioned the most when I was looking through, but I don't think that I saw them mentioned enough to where I would say this was like a pure favorite. See the C1 there again. Yeah, I didn't see it mentioned enough. And then there was another video where we could have done it, so let's go to that one as well. If we go to the flyable selections and then go to the comments, same here. There wasn't like a bunch that just like cut through. This one was Corsair. Yeah, there wasn't a bunch that like cut through, and I looked through these before, you know, making the video too. C1 again, and the C1 one got 2 likes. So it just wasn't like overwhelming enough. But it seemed like people definitely liked the C1 and the Connie. I think the Connie has a ton of skins, so I don't think I'll make one for the Connie, but I might, if I have time, I'll try to slip the C1 in there, and make one for the C1. It's gonna be cutting it close though, because I got to make 30-second commercials for 16 different ships. That's a lot. That's a lot of work. It doesn't seem like it's a lot because it's 30 seconds, but it is. It's a lot of work. So anyway, those are the results for that. Did I have any other news stuff? Oh yeah, I completely like spaced out. My Soul Citizens video is actually September 1st, not August 1st. So if you were confused about that, yeah, I meant to say September 1st, but in my mind it was September 1st, not August 1st. So I'm like, it's today. So anyway, yeah, that happened. But yeah, that's pretty much it for that part. So a lot of things have happened. 3.24 went to wave 1. So let's actually go and see what wave 1 is. I actually forgot who all is included in wave 1. So let's do this. Yeah, so group 1 is Legatus Navium, concierge backers, subscribers, and top active players rated by hours in the previous 2 major patch cycles. So you have to basically be a subscriber or a top active player, because I know there's not that many people who are Legatus Navium concierge. So basically, if you want to pre-test, do a super pre-test, you can subscribe for the month, and then just cancel it the next month when it goes to live. That's what I think the cheapest one is $10, or is it? I think it's $10 for the cheapest one. So you get $10 to play the game for you know, earlier than everybody else. And then it goes down to Praetorian for group 2, and second most active. And then it goes Wing Commander, Space Marshal, Grand Admiral. So basically all concierge backers are included in part 3, and then third most active. Oh no, except for High Admiral is the first level of concierge. So this is the second level of concierge and up. Group 3 is the second level of concierge and up. And then group 4 is High Admiral, which is the first level of concierge. And then everybody gets group 5. From my experience, Evocati keeps it the longest. Then Evocati and group 1 keep it the longest. And then it goes like 2 keeps it for maybe like 2 or 3 days. And then 3 keeps it for like a day. And then this is all like normally within 1 or 2 days that the rest of the groups get it. So you generally want to be part of these first 2, if not these top 3, because they keep it the longest before everybody else. So I would say if you're not going to go and try to be in group 1 and do the subscriber thing, you might as well just wait, because that's the only time it's going to be worth it, is if you get in group 1, wave 1. And that's what these are. It says wave 1, but it's group 1. That's what the groups are. So anyway, there's a Galactopedia update. We'll get to like the Evocati notes. We're going to go through all of that stuff. But there's a Galactopedia update. So these are mostly small articles. Even this Shubin Interstellar one is small. But if you stay tuned to the channel, I will be going through and reading all of these so that you don't have to. I'm going to do them all in one video. So it'll be titled Galactopedia Update it'll be basically this title up here. It'll say Galactopedia update July 30th, 2024. Yeah, and it'll have all of this. I'll just read all of it. So then you don't really have to go through and read all of that stuff. And I'm going to keep doing that. You guys let me know if you're not really into those videos or not. I'm going to do it because I want to read these, but I wanted to give myself a reason to read them. So anytime they can create a video that's a decent length of a video, I'll just read them online. I won't necessarily read all of them, but I will put an effort towards doing all of them just for your guys' sake, you know, because I know a lot of people just would prefer audiobooks basically to reading these things yourself. And, you know, I have that smooth, buttery voice, or so I've been told. I mean, I'm not trying to be like one of those guys. I'm just saying, you know, I have been told that my voice is soothing. Anyway, moving on to the Evocati note. So still cargo commodity rebalance and dynamic event blockade runner. Now this one was as of July 30th, so we'll keep going. So I won't say this is currently what it is, but you know, when I come to these, this is what I look at. Ultra wide UI updates, stop markers from not inheriting scale, remove logic, which was offsetting markers up when going more widescreen. So this is still 16:9. We talked about this before. This is just making it to where ultra wide UI makes sense. At least on a 16:9. If you have 21:6 or whatever the other one is, probably not going to be the same for you. But this should at least help. It won't help to the point where it'll make it like look completely normal for you, but it will help to, you might get a little bit more of screen action going on. It might look a little better. I don't have that issue because I use like, one of these days I'm going to show you what my setup looks like, and some of you are going to be like, that's really dumb, and then other people are going to be like, that's really cool. So I want to know what the ratio of that is. But yeah, I'm going to do one of those setup videos. I actually have to get I have all this Virpil hardware and I still don't know how to use it. Like, if you ask anybody that I've played with in the last 3 months, they're going to be like, this guy doesn't know what the hell he's doing. And it's because I'm trying to use all this new hardware, but I don't have enough time to set it up. So like, I have a Razor Tartarus. I have 2 Virpil, what are these? I don't even know what they're called. Alpha Prime, I think they're called, sticks. This one has the Z mount. And then I have the Virpil foot thing. What is it called? The Ace pedals. And I have none of this stuff is set up. I think my 2 sticks are set up, but they're not set up well. So I'm still learning how to use all this stuff. So if you've played with me in the last 2-3 months, I apologize for sucking at the game. I promise I don't suck. Like, normally I'm not that bad at the game, flying and everything, but I'm trying to get used to these sticks. So that's why I don't, if you're wondering like why you're on my friend group and I haven't been like, hey, let's play together. It's because most of the time when I get in the game, I'm like, okay, this button does this button does that. I need to remap this one. So anyway, moving on. So this one is this one was July 31st, so it's the very next day. So they were moving pretty fast on these. This one was pretty cool. Full balance pass for automatic cargo loading prices and loading times based on SCU container sizes, and greatly increased the Anvil Hurricane's nose and body joint health. So I don't know what that is, but I'm going to test it real quick. I'm going to look at Urkel and see if Urkel has updated it. And I just want to see what the whole HP was, because I don't think it was very high the last time I checked it. But I haven't reviewed the Hurricane yet, so I'm glad I haven't reviewed the Hurricane yet. Oh, actually, no, I did review the Hurricane. It's because it's Anvil Hurricane, right? You know what? This is not including the Evocati build, so it wouldn't actually even show up on here. So sorry about that. So it's not going to show up on there yet. But we'll see what that is. But nose and body joint health, I'm assuming that means an overall HP. If that, it says greatly increased the nose and body joint health. So I'm assuming that means that in general, the overall health of the Hurricane is going to go up. So I can't wait to see what that looks like. Then we have this one here. So this one says bosses and Star Citizen. And basically is just asking, don't make them bullet sponges. And then it says some other stuff here. You could pause and read. But this, Zach Priest responded a few times. I actually think there was, yeah, it was just 2, I think here. Actually, no, there was more. But I'll read these ones first. That used to be the case, but players found a way to loot them. They just have a lot more HP currently. They're just are super heavies, which are sprinkled in with LMGs. And then this says, will it continue to be NPCs with an artificial health boost, or will this be changing down the road to something else? Currently shooting a bullet sponge doesn't feel very good or fun. What you see with the Juggernaut archetype will still exist. Enemies in heavy armor with extra HP pools, as it helps mix up the combat. But in the future, there will be a lot more context for if something is bullet spongy. So it won't just be like shooting a normal guy who's wearing a set you can just put on. In general, the challenge will not just be shooting people, but dealing with a variety of factors like you saw in the ISC. There's copians in the contested zone. So yes, we're going to have bullet sponges. I don't know what people were expecting. The gamification of shooting people is that they're going to have to be able to take more than one shot, because otherwise it's just going to be a hyper realistic FPS shooter. This is never claimed to be a hyper realistic FPS shooter. You're going to have to shoot people a certain number of times, but they're not just going to have some crazy health bar. It's going to be, if they're wearing heavy armor, you got to shoot them more times. If they're wearing, lighter armor, they're going to be faster, so it's going to be harder for you to shoot them, but it will take less shots. It's just, that's just like the way games work in general. Now, there are other ways to do it, as in like you could do like, if you do a headshot, it automatically kills them or something like that. Could be realistic, but it's also not that fun because you can accidentally get a headshot. And I don't know, like, I don't want to go up against a boss and it just feels like, oh, I accidentally got a headshot. Lucky me. Like, I want it to be more like, I have to shoot them with something super high caliber, and it has to be a dedicated headshot from like a sniper rifle or something. And maybe that doesn't kill them, unless you get them like right between the eyes or right at the weak point of their armor or something like that. Remember, this is the future. So all this armor could very well be good enough to where it stops a high caliber bullet from actually hurting the person. We don't know. Quantum travel exists. So, and I wanted to go through and look at the rest of the replies, because I think there was some other stuff in here that he said about the bosses. And I wanted to see if I could catch that. Okay, so here, bosses and ground vehicles would be awesome. Long been looking forward to having more of a reason to take the vehicles out, basically, and more valid targets for the railgun. It says, yep, the NPCs can use railguns currently, and we're teaching them how to target ships and vehicles currently, so we can slot some NPCs with railguns for if you show up. So we can have that archetype station at outposts. Leads to fun, bigger missions like sending some ground crew in to put the anti-vehicle guys off. Then you can roll in. And then this says, please add animals types as bosses as well. And then it says the storm walls are pretty big, so maybe we might have those as an animal boss. I don't know. The snipers, maybe it's a animal boss for your ship, because I think those, if I'm not mistaken, storm walls are the whales, right? And then the sniper, this says, Zach, would also be nice. No, I'm assuming that's pun intended. If current snipers we have now in missions would hit you once in a while. The snipers NPCs currently don't have glint, so their accuracy is lower than it should be. They have their own profile that basically has accuracy increase the longer you remain in sight, so it's more likely you've been playing against them correctly and slowly when the servers behave. And then it says sniper enemies were used sparingly in 3.23 content, but you'll see more of them as areas with designed with them in mind come online. They also only have lower damaging snipers, since we use the same damage profiles for players and NPCs, so they don't take away 70% of your HP when you get hit, because the accuracy is calculated percent chance based on factors. Main reason why I'm cautious about giving them a P6 LR. The gameplay isn't in well enough in order for snipers to be that good. I get what you're saying, like wanting to get hit by snipers, wanting snipers to be a little bit more accurate. But if you're using cover correctly and stuff like that, they shouldn't be able to hit you. But what he's saying is, like, essentially, if you stay out of cover, if you're not playing against them correctly, they will hit you. But the accuracy has to be lower right now, because all of the gameplay isn't in, especially the glint. So you wouldn't be able to even find the sniper because it's just so dark. So they need to put the sniper glint and have that working correctly in order for them to increase the accuracy of the snipers. And I think that was, oh, nope. This was the one I already read. I think that was it. All right. This was the next one. And as you can see, Cargo hauling missions bumped up and that's in wave 1. It's in wave 1. So the cargo hauling missions are now part of it. And it took the release of wave 1, which was yesterday at 2 o'clock, 2:30. And now we are currently testing them. So we don't have the blockade runner thing yet, but the cargo hauling mission is in. And if you notice here, these are I'm gonna read these bug fixes. I don't normally do this, but it went to wave 1, so I'm gonna put it in. Ground vehicles do not spawn at the allocated garage location, so that's 1. The retrieval op mission will auto abandon shortly after accepting the contract. When another player is on the pad in a hangar instance on top of yours, you can't deliver or retrieve a ship, and it reverts you back to the ASOP list. Display. The toggle for interaction prompt display input icon will revert back to yes upon game restart. When docking or retrieving a ship to a docking port at a station, the docking arm will not extend, and players are able to stop the freight kiosk from working by leaving objects by the door. So all those things were fixed. So that's good. They have some known issues here. You can pause to read, but I have to keep going. I wouldn't say pause to read yet because I think there's like 2 more of these. So this is the one where they start talking about like these are the new things that are in here, and there hasn't been any feedback from the devs yet on these. So with the release of 3.24, we have introduced new tech that creates an instance of player hangars to allow for uninterrupted management of cargo, inventory, and vehicles. Personal hangars are found at the player's home location. Home location. That means if you're at Everest Harbor, that's not your home location, and allow for customization and organization of the hangar interior. All hangar types are instance, meaning they are able to physically stack on each other in the same location without interference. All hangar types also have ASOP terminals, item banks, and freight elevators. It's SU dependent on hangar size. I haven't jumped into 3.24 yet, but I can't wait because I know I have an XL hangar, and that means I know I have 2 freight elevators, and I can't wait to go in there and just be like, I'm gonna decorate. I feel like an interior designer every time I get a game where I can do that. Like the only reason I even have Starfield at this point is just so I can like find cool stuff to put in my my little bases that I've built all over the place. But the thing is, I don't go to them that often, so I don't know how much that matters. Personal hangars exist for the player at the selected home location at all times and is as big as the largest ship on the player's account. Ships purchased in-game don't increase size of personal hangar. Any items left inside the hangar will persist indefinitely, though items on the ship loading platform may disappear. We're looking to gather your initial thoughts and feedback, so let us know. So if you want stuff to stay in your hangar, put it in your ship or put it in your hangar. Don't just leave it out. If you leave it, don't leave it on the ship loading platform. You can leave it in your hangar. Don't leave it on the ship loading platform because things have to move there. So, I mean, that wouldn't be smart anyway. Like you wouldn't put all your ship weapons on the ship loading platform and then the ship loading platform goes down. Your vehicle has to get loaded onto it. Where's your weapons going to go? So that just makes sense. It's just common sense, but it's not so common. That's why I have to mention it. Freight elevators and hover trolleys. With the release of 3.24, we have implemented systems and content for players to physically load and unload cargo to and from their ships by conveying cargo to and from hangars, landing pads, garages, and docking collars. This is huge. For the new cargo flow, we will be storing cargo in the local player inventory and allow them to use the freight elevator in their hangar to access the inventory physically. Players can also purchase hover trolleys at cargo desks, in space stations, and dumpers depot in landing zones, which can be retrieved and stored via freight elevators. We're looking to gather your thoughts. So there you have it. So you can physically load and unload cargo to and from your ships, from getting it, whether you're at a hangar, a landing pad, a garage, or a docking collar. All of those places work. So that is awesome. This is the big one for me because one of the things that keeps me from going into the game is knowing that I'm going to have to load up somewhere. Then I'm going to have to fly somewhere just to load my vehicle onto my ship. And then hope the game doesn't break while I do that. And then only then can I go and do the mission that I want to do because I always take vehicles with me. And so it's one of those things that it's like I have to, not only is it just annoying to have to fly to that second location just to do something basic, but it was also annoying knowing that the game could break before I even get there and then just keep me from wanting to play because it's like I have to do this all over again, especially when your ship blows up and you know you have to do it all over again. Like I have to go to this place and then I have to get my vehicle again and then I have to go out, and it's the whole process takes like 30 minutes just to get started on the mission you wanted to do. So this will save a lot of time. Yeah, and then just being able to hang out in your own hangar and just mess around with stuff Whereas like before it was like, oh, your ship has been put back into storage and you got to pay a fine now or whatever because you were blocking a pad. Like all that stuff's gone. I love that. All right, hangar decorations. Another one I love. With the release of 3.24, we have introduced hangar decorations for players to purchase and place. These new decorations can be purchased at Kelto and Dumpers Depot, then retrieved from the hangar's freight elevator. These decorations can be placed anywhere a player wants in their hangar and have full interactions like sitting on chairs and couches. However, the ship platform will delete items stored on the ship elevator when storing ships. So do not put things on the ship elevator when you store your ships because they will disappear. Additionally, these decorations will persist in personal hangars but will get deleted in staging hangars that you don't own outside of your main landing zone. So when you put up these decorations, you cannot put them in the Everest Harbor hangar, the hangar that you get. You would have to put them in your home location. That's where your stuff is going to be at. You can do all the other stuff, but just your hangar decorations are not going to be the same when you have a staging hangar. Staging hangars are not your home hangars. They're not your personal hangars. So in order to access these features, you will have to go down to Planet. But one of the main reasons that people like to go to places like Everest Harbor is so that they can launch quickly and not have to worry about entering and exiting atmosphere. But with the amount of time that you'll save now being at your home designation, like, oh, I'm at Orison or whatever, the amount of time you will save now by being there, by not having to go to another planet and so on and so forth, you can just launch directly into the mission. I think that makes up for the fact that you have to enter and exit atmosphere. So that's cool. All the 3.24 stuff, I love it. I love reading about this stuff. With the release of 3.24, we have fundamentally changed how players interact with and organize their belongings. Storage access kiosks exist in various places in all landing zones and space stations, which replace the old local inventory. We're looking to gather your thoughts. So now you will have to go to those item kiosks instead of just randomly saying, oh, I'm randomly just standing in the middle of this location. I can access my entire inventory. You actually have to go to those kiosks. And some people thought that might suck, but they're actually everywhere. From everything people have been telling me, they're everywhere. These storage access kiosks are everywhere. It's not annoying to use them at all. It's just like, it just makes more sense. All right, cargo hauling missions. This is the big one, I guess, because this is the one that took the longest for people to test. Like, I don't even think Ivakati got to test this before it went to wave 1. With the introduction of freight elevators, we have created a suite of legal missions where players are tasked to move cargo containers between locations. These new hauling missions will generate procedurally across the Stanton system, seeing the player transport goods back and forth to various jump points, LEOs, Lagrange points, landing zones, distribution centers, and outposts. We're looking to gather your thoughts and general feedback. So that's pretty big. Here's this. I wanted to read this real quick because this one got upvoted a lot and I thought it was actually pretty decent. And this was as of yesterday. And so this was literally 8 minutes after this was posted. It says the payout, it says for cargo hauling missions, the payouts seem off. Some missions are to fly from one location straight to another with only one SCU for 9K, which is an extra small haul. Then right below it is to pick up from 4 different locations, which with much more cargo for only 4K. So the Hull C has a terrible interface to load the large hauls of over 1 SCU, 1K SCU. I can request cargo, but the actual loading doesn't work. Put a kiosk. They're saying put a kiosk in there. Then it says the rep is screwed up. It doesn't seem to be consistent on how much it gives. And sometimes it will fail the mission even though I completed it and remove my rep to the point where I have to do the evaluation contract again. So I thought that was interesting. So obviously, I want to put this, and this is why I track when these things go live. This is the first iteration of cargo hauling missions. Ivakati didn't get to use this. The Ivakati didn't get to test this before wave 1 is what I'm saying. It went directly to wave 1. They weren't able to test these missions first. So we're getting the first iteration. So it makes sense that you're having these major issues because we're the first people to test these. So wave 1, I mean, wave 1 and Ivakati, of course. So yeah, it makes sense that they're messed up. So, but of course, go on to the forum and let them know, hey, this is what's broken so that they can fix it. And then this one was a little different. So this is just saying that the ship showdown thing is beginning. These were the divisions that I didn't mention earlier, but these are the divisions that I'll be making the stuff for. Mine will all be commercials. I think this was saying, I want to read it again because, you know, my reading failed me earlier. So let's see. It says, You decide the outcome. Your voice is essential. Write an original song. Build something with blocks. Take an epic in-game or real-life shot. Make a trailer, music video. Yeah, so basically, yeah, you can do whatever. Your submission can be anything. So yep, see, look, I can read. Look, this time I read things. Look, evidence. Yeah. But the note that came out of this was this here. Update. This year, we're starting this pretty early. Instead of the Elite 8, the top 16 ships from Phase 1 will be made available to test fly for free in the Sweet 16 free fly, now commencing on August 15th at 16 UTC, -5 UTC. So that would be, what, 11 p.m. Eastern time, if I'm not correct. Or if I am correct. And yeah, so I think when do we have to have these in by? We have to have them in by the 13th. So we have to turn everything in by the 13th. I can do that. If I could probably do 4 videos a day. Oof, that would be tough. I'm gonna go for 4. 2 is the minimum, 4 is the maximum. I'll say that. So even if I get anything more than 2, that I'll consider it a win. Yeah, and then I'll go from there. That's pretty cool though. Yeah, and I think that's it. This is just a wave thing that we talked about before. So yeah, woo! That was a big Star Citizen Nightly. There was a lot of information, mostly because I didn't do a Star Citizen Nightly the last 3 days. But sometimes I like to do that anyway, just because there's not enough news to just cover the one day. So sometimes I like to let it build up a little bit, which kind of goes against the name of Nightly, right? I guess if it's going to be called Nightly, I should do it every night. But it just means it happens at night. That's what I'm going with anyway. So anyway, thanks for spending your time with us. I will see you in the next one. Peace.